even closer to Wichita families ready for their next adventure. Whether you're dreaming of weekend lake trips or cross-country road journeys, Four Seasons RV has the travel trailers and fifth wheels to get you there. Come celebrate the new Andover location of Four Seasons RV and start your next adventure today. ESPN Wichita listeners can save $500 if they mention ESPN. Four Seasons RV, your Kansas family-owned RV dealership. Looking for quality Kansas land? Join Sungren Realty and Auction on Tuesday, July 21st at 4 p.m. for a live auction of 113.9 acres selling in 2 tracts just south of Newton in Harvey County. These tracts offer productive tillable farm ground, mature timber, a pond, and excellent deer and turkey habitat. The property will sell by the acre with high bidder's choice, and online bidding is available through the Sungren Realty mobile bidding app. The live auction takes place at Sand Creek Event Center in Newton at 4 on July 21st. For more info, go to sungren.com.
ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. Your radio home of the Kansas Jayhawks, the Wichita Wind Surge, the Dallas Cowboys, the Wichita Open, the college football playoffs, and the national championship, the World Series, the NBA playoffs, the Big 12 championship, and the best coverage of the Chiefs, Royals, Jayhawks, Wildcats, and Shockers. Locally owned and operated. ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. As the NBA offseason rolls on, the wait continues for a decision from LeBron James. He hasn't offered many clues about his decision-making process other than saying last week, quote, "I won't hold you guys up much longer," end quote. There is no hurry to make a decision, and when LeBron makes it, he'll make it, according to his agent, Rich Paul.
I think he's earned the right not to be rushed. And so it's not a thing where you're toying with people's emotions or trying to make it about anything more than the fact that, hey, this man has a very important layered decision to make across business, across family, across basketball. And, basketball is the business, obviously. But, just have to be patient with him.
Rich Paul on the Pat McAfee Show. NFL Dolphins and linebacker Jordan Brooks agreed to a 3-year, $51 million extension, $35 million guaranteed. Third key Miami player to sign a multi-year extension with the team this offseason. Georgia running back Dante Dowdell being treated for serious injuries in a hospital after being involved in an ATV accident. Baseball, Red Sox tonight go for a 15th straight win when they take on the Orioles.
Just have some fun. It's live radio. It's live.
Business, you've got to try Gusto. Get unlimited payroll runs and get your payroll tax.
I'm okay. If it was them, I'd be a little worried. For you, I'm not too worried.
All right. Started for free at gusto.com.
Is it okay in your head? Too loud? Too soft?
Good.
Okay,
good.
Cool.
You're listening to The Pulse with Pat Strathman on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Small town, big dreams, and a young boy the age of 15. Had a premonition his city would get seen. Now I'm winning, get sheen in the city of the home of our.
What's up, Wichita? And what is up, Manhattan, Kansas? Bramlage Coliseum is where we are today here for the Pulse on Wichita Sports Leader ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. I'm Pat Strathman, Jack Johnson producing and contributing to the show as always. Lots of TBT talk today. We will put a focus on Purple Rain versus Jayhawks hoops. Aftershocks dominate last night. Gene Taylor is going to stop on by. Nick Ball is going to be a part of the show. Yeah, lots and lots of basketball talk. And speaking of basketball, there is a new leader for men's basketball for Kansas State, and he kicks off the show. Casey Alexander, new men's basketball coach at Kansas State, joins us here on the program. Coach, first and foremost, congratulations. Glad to see you here. What's it like walking in and seeing a guy like Michael Beasley, who, I don't know, was one of the greatest basketball players of my childhood growing up? I mean, I'm sure it's probably cool to sit here and see these guys, all of them representing the purple back in the day. It's got to be a dream come true to see these guys out this way.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Love to have these guys back. Always welcome true K-Staters here. Everybody's got a different story. Some of them started here, some of them finished here. Some of them played for a long time, made good money, but all good K-Staters, got Big 12 champions in the group, got NCAA tournament appearances in the group, Elite Eights in the group, so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, how have things gone this summer for Coach Alexander? I'm sure you're trying to figure out way back when you get hired, where do you even begin? Where do you start? Well, of course, roster construction, sure, that's where you get going. But now here you are in the summer, non-con schedule gets released, still waiting on what's really going to happen for the Big 12. But how has things gone so far for Coach Alexander this summer?
Well, it's been great. Summer's been a lot more like how things are supposed to be. When you get the job, it's a whirlwind. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of things to uncover and, I's to dot, T's to cross, all those kinds of things. But summer feels more like I'm a basketball coach. I feel like I'm a Manhattan resident. I've got a team. I've got a staff. We're practicing. And so it's a lot more business as usual, which has been fun.
When the yesterday non-conference schedule gets announced, good amount of home games on there. You have Creighton coming here. I think that's kind of the highlight for a home non-conference game. You go to Players Era Tournament where you got to take on Gonzaga, Alabama, Baylor, some really talented teams there. You go to Seton Hall. You get Wichita State in Kansas City, and with us being in Wichita, I know there are a lot of black and yellow fans who see that game and go, dang, that's going to be a big one. What went into the process of building the schedule, and how did you feel like things ended up when it was all said and done?
Yeah, we wanted to have good balance, equal opportunity of home games and games where, where we could kind of have a chance to figure out who we are and, what works, what doesn't work, who needs to play more, who needs to play less, those kinds of things. But you also want to make sure you get challenged. You want to make sure you have games that are attractive to fans. You want to make sure you get on the road. And so I really feel like it came together the way that we intended for it to. You don't know who necessarily is going to end up on the final schedule, but the balance of it all and the quality of it all I feel really good about, including that game in Kansas City that you mentioned. That was important to me. When we're looking for somebody, it's a great venue. It's obviously a great opportunity for us to get to our Kansas City base and play in a great arena, but I wanted somebody that was attractive there. And so Wichita was the first team that we tried.
Well, and speaking of Wichita State, certainly a lot of talent coming back for them. They're going to be a quality opponent. That could be one of those games that could be good for resume building for you as well.
Yeah, never know. You go into it and you assume that, but we don't all finish like we're supposed to.
Good point.
Good or bad, but I do think that, if you look at, obviously historically they've had a lot of great teams through the years, and the way that they finished last year with the retention that they had, you would assume that they're going to be a really quality opponent, a quad 1 or 2 game. And so anytime you can win one of those, it helps the resume for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Casey Alexander joining us here on the show, head men's basketball coach at Kansas State. Let us go way back in time when you first got going. What was really the first thing that you wanted to establish as the head coach way back when you first got hired as the head coach at Kansas State?
Yeah, it was the staff, honestly. There's so many moving pieces. I've got really important people, here, with infrastructure and donors and former players and things like that. There's nothing more important than that, but we also have a roster to put together, and there's nothing more important than that, So if you're going to put a roster together, you got to have a staff. There's nothing more important than that, So it's like everywhere you turn, there's a lot that is required, but we couldn't do anything until we got a staff in place and therefore get ourselves ready for the portal and try our luck there.
Well, you have one big guy for sure. I know he talked earlier today, but Andre Kostic is coming back for another season. How pivotal of the piece is that for you guys to bring him to come back this way?
Yeah, it's pivotal in the sense that he wanted to be here, and I think he's a good player. How it bears itself out over the course of the season or the course of his career remains to be seen. But I really like him personally. I really feel like his greatest strengths are our greatest strengths, so that's a good match. But he's just like everybody else on the team in a sense that he's new to this team, he's new to this staff, and there's a lot of moving pieces there even that we've got to work through.
Yeah, and certainly a lot of new faces as well. Of course, Andre's a guy coming back, but there's so many new guys. When you went into the portal to try to build this roster, what were some of the key values that you had to have in a player in order to come here to play at Kansas State?
Yeah, well, their values is what mattered the most to me. I told every single person that we met with that I didn't want them coming to Kansas State if they weren't all about winning and all about the team and didn't have a great desire to be a great teammate and didn't understand what it takes to be a winning team. Naturally, they're all, if you're in the portal, you're looking for something different and something that's a little bit more personal. And we want to deliver on those things as best we can, but that's going to be impossible to do for 14 players. And, and so being about the team and just culturally being good fits and understanding how important that is and how much the people that support K-State will admire that and want to pull for that kind of person and player was really, really important. So that's where we started. And then you move on to, the characteristics, of a K-State player, in our era and what that needs to look like. We really value high skill level and IQ. We want guys that play unselfishly. We got to have guys that are skilled and can make shots, and so that's really what we were looking for there primarily.
Sure.
You can't do anything. We can't work any magic. We got to have good players, and they got to be good enough to win games in the Big 12. But there's a lot of care and concern that went into making sure that we know who we are and we recruit to that style on and off the floor, and that's going to give us the best chance to win.
And I think it's a unique blend too, right? Where you have some guys who come from the non-Power 4 ranks, if you will, or you come on as someone blocks their camera. That's okay, no big deal. We'll just have to adjust to that later on. But I think when you look at the roster, I think you have some guys coming from a non-Power 4 level, try to find a Power 4 opportunity. You have guys who have been at Power 4 schools who just haven't had the opportunities there. It seems like there's a good blend when you take a look at the roster that way.
Yeah, and I mean, in some ways it just worked out that way. We obviously knew that we couldn't get too much of the same. And we definitely valued experience. The more Power 4 experience that we could find, the better. But again, there's guys, people in the portal have different agendas, and so as it turns out, though, we got a pretty equal balance, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. We've got a pretty equal balance. We've got some guys who've been really important to their teams and leading scorers and best players. We got some who need that opportunity, and we feel like we can give that to them, and they will excel, in a new system and with new opportunities. So. A lot of that obviously remains to be seen, but again, I feel really good about what we did in the portal and both the quality of people and the quality of player.
What have you seen this summer from some of these guys? Certainly a roster, when you have so many new pieces, you're not going to have the answers right away, but maybe some encouraging moments along the way. Yeah,
it's been awesome since day one. I'm not saying they've been the Big 12 champions every day, but they've been a great group to work with. I do really feel like we hit a home run on the camaraderie piece of what it takes to be good. I mean, they genuinely like each other. They work hard for each other. They're very well connected already. That didn't take very long at all, so that part has been nice. And that just makes the job so much easier. When you're not dealing with things that distract you from being great, it gives you a much better chance to be great. And so I think we're really off to a good start as far as that's concerned.
See, Kamau's getting me all centered up. All right, I appreciate it, man. Kamau Stokes giving us a little assist over this way as we visit with Casey Alexander, men's basketball coach at Kansas State, here on the Pulse at ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. As someone who prides himself on the development piece when you're at Belmont, and everywhere you've been such a good development guy. Now you look at college basketball, college athletics, now it almost feels like you have to accelerate the process in order to make it happen. How do you go about approaching that here at Kansas State, considering how different college basketball is now compared to maybe where it was 5 to 10 years ago?
Yeah, totally foolish to sit here and think that, this is going to be a 2, 3, 4, 5 year process like it used to be. Coach got a job historically, and it was, he's got to have time to get his guys in there, and, that's going to be 3 or 4 years from now and everything else. No, you get your guys in there on year one, and you're expected to win. And the good thing is you can get your guys in there and win. And then, but I do think the daily business of being a caretaker for K-State hoops and how we go about our business, that really is going to supply the kind of the longevity, or the sustained success that we're looking for from year to year. It should allow us to have better retention rates than the average. I'm not a coach that wants big turnover every year. And then the more we get that, the more we get the development that you're talking about. Whether that's a guy that comes in and isn't quite ready and he develops, or it's a great player that takes it to the next level, and all of a sudden, he's a high draft pick or, and ready to play in the NBA. All shapes and sizes.
Well, then the other aspect is, too, the 5-for-5 aspect that is going to go into effect. I don't know when the magic date is going to be, but you're going to start calling people first year, third year rather than freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors. It's going to take a little time for me to get used to that, but maybe that also helps out from a development aspect as well, to where you do get more time with those individuals. At least that's the hope, right? That's the goal with this new rule.
Yeah, but that's for everybody. I mean, that's
sure.
not going to be any different for us than anyone else. And we anticipated that rule was going to be passed, but it had very little effect on how we went about our business in recruiting and how we assembled the roster. As it turns out, we'll only have 2 guys off of this year's team that cannot come back. So that's nice. That we don't have 7 seniors or or what used to be seniors. And so we do have a great chance for some really good retention this year, and we're excited about that. It does mean that teams will continue to be old. We as coaches, I think we got used to COVID, and then they had the exemption where the NAIA guys got an extra year, the non-Division I guys got an extra year, And so just when you think you're ready to move on, then they throw a 5th year in there. So now we're back to being old again. It'll be interesting to see how it all turns out.
Well, older teams, I mean, there's no denying just the success that you get when you have an older squad.
Yeah,
it just makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and you've seen, I mean, college basketball's been better than ever.
Yeah,
and so much of it, all of it, is because you've had so many guys, older guys, that are out there playing. Some of that's because of the money that they can make by staying, but also just having the COVID guys that got 5th years and everything else. It's unmistakable that's been a huge reason for the popularity and the success of the teams that are out there. It's a really healthy game as far as that's concerned.
Sure. Talking with Casey Alexander, head coach at Kansas State, here on the Pulse on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. Of course, there's still some more tweaking that's going to happen for college athletics. There's a bill and so on and so forth. I'm sure you probably knew that question was going to be coming, right? I know you look at the current landscape of college athletics. You can't just wave a wand and have things be fixed overnight. But as you take a look at what's been presented, trying to maybe balance things a little bit more, what do you see from the bill that's currently in the process of being tweaked to where maybe you get finalized and maybe you're going to have some more stability? Maybe that's not the case. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't either, honestly. I mean, I think that it is unanimous, 100%, I would say, that coaches, administrators, fans, radio hosts, everybody thinks we need some reform, But the devil is in the details, obviously, and everybody has different agendas for what that should look like. And so the common ground there is the most difficult piece to find. I would love to believe that everyone, all conferences, all administrators, politicians, everybody, coaches, it would be ideal if we all understood what the greater good of the game was. But in the competitive nature of this business, there are a lot of people out there looking for the greater good of their team or their school or their conference. And so there's where the difficulty lies.
Yeah. Yeah, again, you're not going to find something to where everyone is going to be happy. I feel like you're never going to make things to where everyone's going to be happy with the final decision. But you're right. As a radio host, there's no doubt that we're all just like, yeah, change needs to happen. But, of course, when everyone asks, well, what's the plan of attack? What should you do? It's like, well, we don't have all the right answers. I mean, because at the end of the day, there's not going to be one answer that's going to completely solve everything. NCAA tournament expanding to 76 for it?
No choice.
Perfect answer.
So at this point, I'm for it. I do think, I mean, it's totally fair to say, man, what a great experience the NCAA tournament is. Nothing better than March Madness. So don't change it. That's a valid argument. But at the same time, it's been tweaked and changed many times, including when we had the first 4 in Dayton and when they first instituted that. And that hasn't changed the end product, and I don't think this will either. I think it's going to take some getting used to. A lot of people recognize that there's more teams now, but they don't understand what that does to the first I don't even know what they call it, first round or two, where you've got basically 24 teams trying to play their way into the field of 64. Some teams that historically would not have been in the first 4 in Dayton now have to play in that game. Yeah. Because there's 12 instead of 4. But the access that it gives, especially to the Power 4 conferences, but really to everybody. I just came from the Missouri Valley. I assure you the Missouri Valley is really excited about expansion because every year there's a team right there on the cusp of getting in that now has a much better chance too, but so does the Big 12 now that we've had this opportunity. Yeah. Well, down in Wichita, selfishly, we're excited because we've been selected to host in 27 and 2028. I don't want to see you there, Coach. Can I just say that? I don't want to see you there. I'll see you there right now. If you sign me up for it, I'll be there. Okay, right on. I'd rather be a 1 seed playing, somewhere else. But if you want to sign me up for Wichita right now, we'll take it. Okay, right on. We'll reserve the bus. It'd be simple travel. Don't have to worry about hopping on a plane. That part would be nice and great, if you will. Plus, there'll be a lot of purple down there in Wichita as well. A lot of K-State fans down that way. Stan Weber to our left here, Wichita boy. He definitely knows a thing or two about K-State athletics down there in Wichita. I will say, that says a lot about Wichita. And the fan base, and I can remember watching TBT in Wichita, and what a great turnout they have, and we saw that with that great Final Four run and everything else. It's a proud program. It's been a proud athletic program for a long time. I remember watching baseball as a kid and thinking, why is Wichita State any good? This doesn't make sense to me. But it obviously, they wouldn't put it there if they didn't think that Wichita would rally around it, and the crowds would be great, and so. Yeah, if we end up there, I'll be just as happy as anybody. Well, it's what we've said about Paul Mills. It's like, well, we don't want you here, but now that the provision is gone about where teams that are hosting, you don't have to go somewhere else. You can actually host. Yeah. So if Wichita State were to be there, a sea of black and yellow, I don't know. I think that would be great. But I think Paul Mills would also say, you know what? I don't know. We need to petition for that not to happen. We got to say, if they're in one of those playing games, they need to go to Dayton. I'm gonna start that right now. Yeah, heck with that. As you take a look at just the Big 12 for this upcoming year, certainly loaded. I don't know if there's any other way to really describe the Big 12 conference, but I'm sure you see it. It's going to be as loaded as ever. Yeah, for sure. And I've asked one thing I have asked since I got here is, can we just play the non-conference games and not have to do the Big 12 gamut, not have to run that. But it's exciting. I've got a lot to learn. I'm very green as far as all that is concerned, but I'm well aware of the quality of the league and the coaches and the players and the venues and the fans and everything else, and could not be more excited than to be a part of it. And it's a great challenge, but that's, as a competitor, it's exactly what you want. It's the reason you sign up for jobs like these. And I'm sure you're enjoying every second of being here in Manhattan. I was driving up thinking about going to Taco Lucha. I didn't have time to go over here, but we'll say there's some good food here in Manhattan. Yeah, it's been great. Everything about Manhattan's been great so far. Taco Lucha, man, you better go get in line or send a manager over to hold your spot, because every time I go, and I was like, my gosh, I got to stand outside. It's ridiculous. You can't pull strings.
Where
you can't
else
just
can I go?
Say, "Hey, I'm Coach. I'm Coach Alexander." I don't really work that way. But no, it's been. I've loved Manhattan, and off to a great start, and so really excited about what the future holds. Well, Coach, really appreciate your time here today. It's been a lot of fun getting an opportunity to do the show here at Bramlage Coliseum. This is such a cool deal. Excited for the night. TBT, KU, K-State. I'm sure you're pumped up for the night. I'm not going to ask. The prediction's going to be easy. You're going to go Purple Rain. I already know that aspect. But you excited to see some legends from previous years in the Big 12 go toe-to-toe? I'm ready to see some butts in seats and some K-Staters show up to support their team and their school. And I got us favored to win. I don't know what the spread is, but we should be favored, and I think we'll win. Well, it definitely was a lot of fun watching Stan around. Stan, of course. Stan would definitely see that. After watching Michael Beasley a little bit, he can play a little bit still. he's still pretty talented. But there's other guys, too, that look pretty darn good as well. So I can't wait. Should be a lot of fun. Coach, appreciate your time. Congratulations once again, and looking forward to talking to you again soon. Sounds great. Thanks. All right, Casey Alexander, men's basketball coach at Kansas State, here on The Pulse. We'll take a break and come back. Speaking of TBT in Wichita, we'll talk about that when we return here on The Pulse.
You're tuned into The Pulse on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM.
Save big money when you shop at Menards. Transform your home in one weekend with